Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's media briefing. And before we start the event, I would like to say welcome to our speakers of the day, Mr. Daniel Purba, SVP Investment Management PT Pertamina Persero, Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto, Direktur Utama Pertamina Geothermal Energy, Mr. Eri Widianto, Direktur Utama Pertamina International Shipping, Mr. Agung Wicaksono, Deputy Chair Task Force Environment, Sustainability, and Climate, the B20. We will be starting the event shortly. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for joining our event today virtually. We will be starting the event shortly, but please make sure to put down your real name and the name of the media so that we can use and we can call you by your real name. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will be starting the event in a few minutes, so please be seated in front of your camera and be ready for the event. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for sparing some time to sit down with us and attending this media briefing. First of all, let me say a few words and a quick words about today's event. The Indonesian government has set the target of renewable energy mix of 20% by 2025 and 31% by 2050. Furthermore, Indonesia has also committed to a 29% reduction in emission by 2030. Pertamina, as a global energy company as well as a leading state-owned corporation in Indonesia, plays an important role in driving the Indonesia's energy transition into the target energy mix and emission reduction in ensuring sustainability. Pertamina's aspiration in pursuing green and sustainable energy is translated into several actions of the energy transition. In this event, Pertamina will be explaining all of those actions that have been already executed within the recent years and committed to be implemented in the coming years. And with that, please allow me to welcome you once again to Pertamina's participation at the Indonesia Dubai Expo 2022 Pavilion with the theme of Indonesia's Pertamina sets initiatives for accelerating energy transition to become global energy champion. Can I have your warm applause, please? Thank you so much. My name is Conchita Caroline, and I will be assisting all of you today. I will be the host of today's event. It's really nice to meet you virtually. And to start the event, please allow me to say welcome to all of our speakers today. Mrs. Niki Widiawati, the President Director and CEO of Pertamina. Welcome, Mrs. Nika Widiawati, the President Director and CEO of Pertamina. And of course, we would also like to welcome Mr. Daniel Purba, the Senior Vice President Investment Management of Pertamina. Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto, the President Director of Pertamina Geothermal Energy. Mr. Eri Widyastono, the President Director of Pertamina International Shipping. And last but not least, welcome to Mr. Agung Wicaksono as the Deputy Chair of the Task Force Environment, Sustainability and Climate, the B20. And welcome to all of our media partners and media colleagues. Thank you so much once again for joining us today at this media briefing. And without further delay, to start this event, I would like to invite the President Director and CEO of Pertamina, Mrs. Nika Widiawati, to deliver her opening speech.
Warm greetings from Pertamina Indonesia. I am Nika Widiawati. Pertamina is one of Indonesia's largest state-owned enterprise operating in the energy sector that is fully integrated from upstream to downstream. We are very proud to be a part of the Indonesian Pavilion at the Dubai Expo. In light of the increasing concern toward environment, social, and governance practice globally, Pertamina is committed to be known not only as a global energy player, but also as a company that is environmentally friendly, socially responsible, and uphold good corporate governance. To manifest this commitment, Pertamina has established a board-level sustainability committee in 2021, and I, as the CEO, become the chairperson of this committee. In relation to that, we put strong attention toward the global energy issues, including energy transition. Right now, energy transition is an issue that needs to be prioritized. As an energy company, Pertamina has played an important role in leading Indonesia's energy industry transition, targeting the energy mix and emission reduction. Pertamina targets a more comprehensive reduction of greenhouse gas emission by 30%. In addition, Pertamina will prioritize the development of new and renewable energy to overcome environmental problems, which is in line with the national energy mix. Pertamina's effort to develop environmentally friendly and sustainable energy are carried out in 8 strategic initiatives, including green refinery development, bioenergy development, hydrogen commercialization, gasification, initiation of an integrated battery and energy storage ecosystem, and increase of installed geothermal capacity. We believe that Indonesia's abundant geothermal resources that are spread across the Ring of Fire could be the strong backbone to accelerate the energy transition, which is in line with government goals to achieve net zero emissions. In power plant sector, Pertamina has continued to increase the use of new and renewable energy as well as implement carbon capture, utilization, and storage to increase the production in several fields. As the G20 presidency this year, the Indonesian government has chosen the energy transition as one of its main priorities. And as part of the Business 20 Task Force on Energy, Sustainability, and Climate, we have the same priorities as G20 Indonesia, where we must be a strong catalyst for green recovery and go hand in hand with the principles of energy security, energy equity, and environmental sustainability. The Energy Sustainability and Climate Task Force will center its policy recommendation based on 3 priority issues. First, accelerating the transition towards sustainable energy use by ensuring that global warming is limited to a maximum of 1.5 degrees Celsius. The main topic is the development of industrial fuel alternatives such as hydrogen and biofuels. Second, ensuring a just and affordable transition, global cooperation in mitigating the impact as well as supporting the adaptation for the changes. Third, global cooperation in increasing energy security, especially for household and micro, small, medium enterprise as a means of ending extreme poverty and accelerating the energy transition towards sustainable energy use. We believe that by releasing strategic program in collaboration with numerous partners across countries, energy sustainability is not merely just a discussion, but also a concrete action in which the impact can be experienced by everyone. Moreover, Pertamina is also committed to building strong capability in the logistic business in order to strengthen its position as the key player in providing energy all over Indonesia and as a global energy trader. We aim to have reliable, efficient, and environmentally friendly ship and terminal that will continue to grow and sustain in the future. We are ready to build cooperation to support the achievement of a common goal, sustainable energy for a better future for the Earth. Pertamina, energizing sustainable future, energizing you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mrs. Nika Widiawati, the President Director and CEO of Pertamina. It's always a pleasure learning more and hearing more about what Pertamina has done and planned for us in the future. Hopefully together we can reach the same goal and we can have a more sustainable future. We have curated a collection of interesting presentations for you to hear today at the media briefing. So without further delay, let's start with this first and with this one. Let's hear a presentation about Pertamina strategic initiatives to accelerate energy transition, delivered by Mr. Daniel Purba, the SVP Strategy and Investment of Pertamina. Good evening, sir. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, very clear.
Thank you. Are you ready to deliver your presentation, sir?
Sure.
Okay, the stage is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, good evening, or maybe even in some of you, good morning. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit about what is Pertamina responding into the energy transition as well as decarbonization issue as a part of our sustainability journey, responding to the transition energy, which is right now is a global movement that happen everywhere related to the climate change as well. So I would like to thank for attending this media briefing for everyone. Hopefully, from my short presentation, we can share and you can capture what has been going on and what is the Pertamina program related to the sustainability issues. Maybe if anybody can help the slide for the next slide, please. First, I would like to highlight here that Pertamina is fully committed to ensure that we manage the sustainability issues properly, aligned with the international standard and also association that now put interest in terms of sustainability. So we already set up the sustainability policy for Pertamina, which is our ambition to be a leading and reputable global energy company and to be recognized as a 3-point environmentally friendly company, social responsible company, and good governance company. In order to ensure this policy, the company already set up the sustainability committee, where the chairperson of the committee is the president, director, and CEO of the company. And the members consist of 3 board members, which is a strategy, portfolio, and new venture director, finance director, and logistic and infrastructure director. It is our intention to apply the international practices in the world, that we follow some guiding principles, which is, I think, globally applied by oil and gas or energy company. And also we participate in some of international initiatives, including also how do we disclose our sustainability financially information according to the international standard on the GRI, IPI, ECA, and SASB. And also, of course, in some of our operation, we have had some ISO certification already in terms of environmental, energy management, anti-bribery, social responsibility, as well as risk management. And the latest, Pertamina already rated by the Sustainalytics company, where we got risk rating 28.1. This is a medium risk. We are ranked of 15 out of 251 energy company, which is 7th percentile in oil and gas industry. In World Benchmarking Alliance, we are ranked 49 out of 100. Next slide, please. It is also, we already decide to have some sort of focus on the ESG. We have 3 focus on environmental, 5 focus on social, and 2 focus on governance. So this is linked to the SDGs issues, where on the environmental, we are focusing on addressing climate change, where our target is 30% reduction into which. And number 2 of our environmental focus is reducing biodiversity with the target beyond compliance and water and waste management and net positive impact on biodiversity. In social, we have health and safety focus, prevention of major accidents, employee recruiting, development and retention, innovation and research, and community engagement and impact. Where the governance, we will focusing on 2 issues, cyber security and corporate ethics. So we already set up some primary target on each focus of our sustainability focus for the next few years. Next slide. On top of initiative, we already also put some priority based on time to impact and value, which is related to the net zero roadmap, decarbonization, biodiversity, and also enhancing GCG, ESG operation model, etc., and also including the ESG communication and engagement. So it is some priority already put in place in regards with the 10 of sustainability focus that I previously explained. I think on the to support the energy transition, on the next slide, we would like to share here that we already allocate our capex for investment for the clean, new, and renewable energy. On the next slide, please. Out of 100%, 72 billion capex in the next 5 years, 2022 to 2026, we put 14% of total capex, around 11 billion in the next 5 years, where around 2 billion every year, average, into the gas and new and renewable energy on top of our upstream, downstream, and also other portfolio. This is to move our portfolio business posture, which is right now gas and, new and renewable energy is only 1%. We will be 17% in 2030 for our new and renewable energy portfolio. So this is part of ensuring our sustainability business in response to the energy transition. And some project on the next slide, we already also put in our project pipeline. related to the new and renewable energy in hydrogen. Hydrogen, we already have some plan. I think later my colleague will explain more details since we have a program for the hydrogen in the geothermal and also energy. We are energy crude palm oil in our refinery to process biofuels. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So on the bioenergy, we already, even this year, we already start the green refinery in Cilacap, Pelaju, and Dumai in the coming years. As following the bio blending for biodiesel, 20% and 30% in the next coming years. And we will also apply the biofuel for the gasoline by blending the methanol and ethanol into our existing gasoline. Also on the project renewable energy, we have in our pipeline as well to do the solar, wind, and hydro with some target in 2026. And geothermal is our long time business that already in our portfolio. So we will double the capacity in 2026 from currently around 600 to 1.12 thousand megawatt. And also on the EV battery and energy storage system, we do participate in the Indonesia battery company to increase the battery capacity from 100 and 1 to 140 gigawatt hours in 2029. In CCUS, this is carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So we are starting the pilot project soon. So we hope we can enlarge this CCUS activity to store and also to utilize the carbon into the energy industry to boost our oil and gas production domestically. And also in terms of decarbonization, we are now developing the voluntary carbon market among the state-owned enterprise. And also, in addition to our flare gas utilization, energy efficiency that we have done in the past, and it is currently is still ongoing too. On the next slide. We already shared, I think in some of you perhaps already shared that we do have the Decarbonization Roadmap 2030. Next slide, please. Yeah, so it is showing that we already put the target for our decarbonization roadmap, especially this is only for scope 1 and 2 until 2030 to reach 30%. So on the next slide, this will come the decarbonization program, a majority coming from flare gas utilization. Next slide, please. 75% that our gas emission is coming from the flare gas utilization. We already achieved in 2020 around 57%. This is if we compare with 2010 baseline. And if we compare to the NDC to 2020, it is 26%. So we already beyond or above the target, the NDC target. 26%, we already achieved 27%, while the target for 2030 is 29%. So majority, as I explained previously, is coming from flare gas utilization, and the rest coming from the energy efficiency. It is from all over our operation, from upstream, refinery, as well as in geothermal. And some of it come also from the fuel gasification in upstream, and also other activity in upstream and refinery in terms of commercialization of CO2, as well as process optimization in geothermal, as well as in refinery. In response to the decarbonization initiative, this is going to be for my last slide. We already cooperate and partnering with some national as well as international partners. In the next slide. In terms of EV ecosystem, we can see some national and international partnering in terms of electric vehicles, as well as the car manufacturing for the electric car. On the clean LNG, we cooperate with INPEX to develop the LNG supply chain, and in hydrogen with some Japanese company as well as European company. On the CCUS, we already start the piloting project and study with some national company as well as oil majors. In terms of that green industrial cluster, this is that already in the process of the preparing the green industrial cluster in Indonesia. It is with the industrial complex as well as the fertilizer and electricity company. And for the nature-based solution, it is with the state-owned enterprise in Indonesia to develop the carbon market to make sure and to utilize the utilization of our nature-based for the decarbonization initiative. So this is all about how and what is ongoing in Pertamina right now for us to deal with the sustainability issues related to the climate change that part of Pertamina journey to respond and to adopt the energy transition journey. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Daniel Purba, SVP Strategy and Investment, Pertamina, with our very first presentation of the day, Pertamina Strategic Initiatives to Accelerate Energy Transition. First of all, let me be the first person to thank Pertamina for its amazing commitment towards sustainability. And a quick recap of the presentation that we have just heard from Mr. Daniel Purba. In light of the recent trends in sustainability and drive towards energy transition, Pertamina has developed a strategy through its 10 sustainability focuses that address significant issues, including climate change, health and safety, human rights, and social development. Pertamina also plans to invest a bigger portion of its capital towards the development of low-carbon initiatives, including new and renewable energies, carbon capture, utilization and storage, EV ecosystem, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me inform you that we will be having a Q&A session at the very end of this event. So if you have any questions that you might like to ask our speakers, please write down the questions on the chat box. And please make sure to use your real name and the name of the media. Once again, please use your real name and the name of the media so that we can know where the questions are coming from. Moving on to our second presentation of the day. Please welcome Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto, President Director of Pertamina Geothermal Energy, with his presentation about energizing green future, creating value from geothermal energy. evening, sir. How are you today? It seems like we're having some trouble with the audio. Can you turn on the microphone, please? Can you hear my voice, sir?
Hi, Conchita. Thank you. Now I have access to my microphone.
Okay. Sir, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Very good morning, good afternoon in Dubai, and good evening in Indonesia. It is an honor for me to be here. Daniel, thank you for leading us. And I will just continue to share our passions in creating value from the blessing that Indonesia has been endowed with one of the largest geothermal resources in the world. Perhaps not many people know that Pertamina has started exploring for renewable form of energy sources way back in the 70s. And that goes as far as the commitment from Pertamina. And since then, with the dedications, with the commitments on focusing in developing and generating clean power from geothermal resources, Pertamina formed Pertamina Geothermal Energy. And can I have the slide, please? Can we just continue with the slide? If we look into the global landscape of geothermals, Indonesia, as I said before, with potential resources up to 24 gigawatts of electricity potential from geothermal, is one of the largest with the geothermal potential resources. Current installed capacity of 2.3 gigawatts put Indonesia as number 2 in the world in terms of country with installed capacity. And when we look into the current industry dynamic and what happened in the world, Daniel mentions about the push for energy transitions, decarbonizations. Indonesia also has set a target to be net zero by 2060, commitment in COP that all the country puts. It is putting geothermal sectors, hence Pertamina Geothermal Energy, in very, very good positions to contribute further in the emission reductions and decarbonizations in the future. At the same time, from the potential resources that we have, it provides ample of room to grow in the future. Can we go next, please? We have currently managed 13 assets in Indonesia, among the largest, from Aceh in the tip of Sumatra, along Sumatra Islands, Java, Bali, and North Sulawesi. If you follow the Ring of Fires, you'll find us. And I always see this where we have our geothermal assets is akin to see the backbone for Indonesia and the backbone for energy security based on clean and renewable energy. Our portfolio of assets provides current operations of 672 megawatt that we operate directly and 1.2 gigawatt that we operate through joint operations scheme. These large underlying resources will be our fundamental in growing our capacity further. Can we go next, please? And when we go forward, essentially, the three approach in creating further values from geothermal resources in Indonesia. One is an approach called cogenerations. Thus far, majority of installed geothermal capacity are coming from the steam productions. And we are looking into applying appropriate fit-for-purpose technologies to cogenerate not only from the steam, but also from the hot brine, part of the geothermal fluid that has been produce as well. And by tapping into the potential power generation from the hot brines, essentially we could increment the capacity that we could generate from our geothermal resources. Further value creations is through co-production approach. While we are producing electricity, what else that we can produce out of geothermal resources? So Pertamina Geothermal Energy, with the support of our parents, in collaborations with Pertamina's research centers and also appropriate other parties, we are seriously looking and studying how can we utilize the CO2 that is a byproduct of the what we call the non-condensable gas from a geothermal fluid. And doing so also will add the contributions toward reducing even further current very small CO2 emissions from geothermal activity. And we can turn these CO2 utilizations into a commercial application too. We are looking as well, and we have an existing current activity in researching how can we quantify and extract nanominerals and also rare earth like lithium from geothermal fluids that we are producing, and that will also bear a very strategic importance in the future. We are looking very seriously into expanding the value of geothermal resources by producing green hydrogen. Daniel has already mentioned that green hydrogen is one of the focus going forward for the decarbonization effort from Pertamina. Pertamina Geothermal Energy contributing directly in looking in ways most efficient in co-producing green hydrogens from our geothermal operations. Not only that, but we are also seriously looking into being able to co-produce green methanol as a green feedstock. This is another potential value creations from geothermal resources that we have. We are not stopping there. We are also using the approach of co-development. While at the same time we are developing geothermal resources for electricity, green electricity, for a green product, we are also looking into direct use of geothermal resources, namely how can we develop the area, a geothermal area, to be a geo-eco-tourism area, and also looking into direct applications of geothermal energy into supporting geo-agro industry. We believe that through this three-pronged approach of co-generations, co-productions, and co-development, we are in a very good position in creating more values out of geothermal resources that we have. Can we go next, please? Continuing of Pertamina's commitment in creating positive environmental impact and becoming agents of social changes, and doing that with an excellent governance, we have also established a sustainability committee in Pertamina Geothermal Energy, which I chaired myself, and also working with reputable global parties, the like of Sustainalytics and other management consulting focusing on ESG, making sure that we are able to implement the strategy and hence deliver the environmental, social, and governance targets that we have set in supporting the bigger goal from Pertamina groups. And in doing so, we essentially not starting something new. We are actually continuing the practices that we have been doing so far in creating environmental positive impact, in creating economic and social impact to the community surrounding our operations, and in doing that with a strong, excellent governance. We believe in doing it the right way, and with that, we are able to contribute in achieving the sustainable development goals as well for Indonesia and also globally. Can we go next, please? Once again, let me reiterate how passionate we are in creating values from the blessing that Indonesia has with the indigenous energy resources that is renewable, which is geothermal. Geothermal is one out of two renewable energy source that fits very well to be the green baseload because of its stability, its capacity factor, and its dispatchability. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto, the President Director of Pertamina Geothermal Energy. That was quite an eye-opening presentation about energizing green future, creating value from geothermal energy. And I'm really looking forward to see how this approach will affect our future in the next couple of years. Let me just sum up a bit about the presentation that we just watched together. Geothermal green future, or geothermal as green energy, could be optimized to other product, not only steam and electricity. Other product that could be developed from geothermal energy is steam and hot brines to generate green electricity. Also CO2 utilization, nanomaterial, rare earth material, green hydrogen, green methanol, and of course, green ecotourism. And last but not least, geo-agro industry. If any of you have a further question about this topic, please feel free to write down your questions on the chat box. But once again, as I stated before, don't forget to put on your real name. Please write down your real name and which media are you working from. Once again, please write down your real name and the name of the media that you're working from. Okay, let's move on to our next presentation. This one is about world-class and eco-friendly shipping. And it will be delivered by Mr. Eri Widyastono, the President Director of Pertamina International Shipping.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hi, Kak Sita. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us today. Are you ready to deliver your presentation, sir?
Yes, of course.
Okay, the stage
I
is
will.
yours.
Yes, thank you. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to all of you for the opportunities for my company, PT Pertamina International Shipping, to take part in this wonderful event. My name is Eri Widyastono. I am the CEO of Pertamina International Shipping. Nice to meet you all. In this precious moment, I would like to share to you information about our company, more specifically on its initiatives to become world-class green integrated marine logistic company. Without further ado, let's continue the presentation to overview of Pertamina International Shipping. Could you project the slide, please? Thank you. PT Pertamina International Shipping is a fully owned subsidiary of Pertamina, engaging in the field of marine logistics. PIS was established as a shipping company in 2016, in line with the holding and subholding transformation in Pertamina. In 2021, we have completed the restructuring process by which we have transformed into integrated marine logistic company. Currently, we manage three main businesses: shipping business, marine service, and logistic business. Ladies and gentlemen, in the shipping segment, we distribute around 150 million kiloliters of energy cargoes throughout all areas in Indonesia every year. In an archipelagic country, to distribute this cargo, we operate around 300 tankers covering VLCC, VLGC, large range, medium range, general purpose, small tankers, and 150 marine support vessels. As an integrated marine logistic, we also manage around 100 ports and own as well as operate 6 fuel LNG terminals with large capacity. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we understand that going forward, most shipping companies in the world, including BIS, will face challenges and opportunities that require internal changes in line with the projection of Indonesia energy mix from 2020 till 2050 as published by Indonesian National Energy General Plan. We understand that in the future, the share of gas and new and renewable energy will be higher than oil and coal energy. For that reason, we now focus on investing in gas carriers and other vessel types of transportation greener cargoes. However, in this transitional phase, we remain committed to support fossil-based energy to all areas in Indonesia. From the demand side, we understand that several Asian countries will have increasing demand for fuel or gas storage in line with their GDP per capita growth. BIS as an integrated marine logistic company is in a strategic position to capture this opportunity. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, to anticipate future disruption, BIS has formulated a roadmap toward a green integrated marine logistic company. The roadmap is divided into 3 phases. In the first phase, BIS plans to reduce its carbon print. At this stage, we begin to rejuvenate our ship age. In addition, we also implement several new methods to operate ships, ports, terminals in order to reduce carbon emissions. In the second stage, BIS has aspiration to become a low-carbon company. At this stage, we plan to implement dual-fuel vessel, eco-friendly ship design, and advanced technology for energy efficiency. In the third stage, BIS has aspiration to become a carbon-neutral company. At this stage, we plan to use carbon-free ship fuels such as hydrogen, ammonia, and battery. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition, BIS has implemented several initiatives to comply with regulation and conventions related to environment friendliness. Currently, 3 of our vessels have been installed with scrubbers to support the reduction of sulfur emission from ships. Moreover, 11 of our vessels have been installed with ballast water treatment to help protect the environment. We have also performed dual fuel mode conversion on some of our ships. Apart of that, we are also implementing the Pertamina Eco Ship Design Concept and are currently in the trial state for implementation of biodiesel in our small vessel. Next. Ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, we have implemented several new technologies on board to support the reduction of environmental pollution and emissions. Some of the effort we have made include installing like a vapor emission control system, scrubber, LFSO dedicated fuel tank, oily water separator, and so on and so on. Well, that is all I have today. I would like to close the presentation by summarizing my main points. We believe that our environments demand more friendly companies. Therefore, all companies, including us, are required to take concrete steps to keep our environment green. As an integrated marine logistic company, we are committed to keeping the operation of our ships, ports, and terminal more environmentally friendly. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been pleasure being with you all today. I wish you all a very good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Eri Widyastono, the President Director of Pertamina International Shipping. World-class and eco-friendly shipping. A quick recap about PIS, or PT Pertamina International Shipping. It's a fully owned subsidiary of Pertamina, engaging in the field of marine logistics. And currently, PIS manages three main businesses: shipping, marine services, and logistics. But going forward, most shipping companies in the world, including PIS, will face challenges and opportunities that require internal changes. And to anticipate future disruptions, PIS has formulated a roadmap toward a green integrated marine logistics company. The roadmap is divided into three phases. In the first phase, PIS plans to reduce its carbon footprint. And in the second stage, PIS has aspirates to become a low carbon company. And in the third stage, PIS has aspirations to become a carbon neutral company. Currently, PIS has implemented several initiatives to comply with regulations and conventions related to environmental friendliness. 3 of PIS vessels has been installed with scrubbers to support the reduction of sulfur emissions from ships. In addition, 11 of PIS vessels have been installed with ballast water treatment to help protect the environment. PIS has also performed dual fuel mode conversions on some of our ships, and apart from that, PIS is also implementing the Pertamina Eco Ship design concept and is currently in the trial stage for the implementation of biodiesel in our small vessels. And lastly, PIS has implemented several technologies on board to support the reduction of environmental pollution and emissions. Such technologies cover vapor emission control system, oily water separator, rudder bulb, pre-shrouded vane, stern tube air seal type, engine IMO Tier 3, electronic fuel injection, oil discharge monitoring system, ballast water treatment system, anti-fouling coat, and bulbous bow shape. Again, if you have any questions regarding this issue or these matters, please write down your questions, and please don't forget to use your real name, and please write down the media that you're working from so that we can know who are asking the questions and where are the questions coming. All right, moving on to our last presentation of the day. Energy, Transition, Climate, Road to G20. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Agung Wicaksono, Deputy Chair of the Task Force Environment, Sustainability and Climate, the B20. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Conchita. Thank you.
Are you
How
having
are
a
you?
great time, sir?
Thankfully, yes. Thankfully, yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Are you ready for your presentation?
Ready to go.
All right. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Conchita. Dear distinguished audience, member of the press, journalists, and especially also senior leaders, top executives of Pertamina, starting from Pak Daniel Purba, and then Pak Ahmad Yuniarto and Pak Eri Widyastono, who have beautifully outlined and showcased the role of Pertamina in this energy transition. Now, I'm probably a bit out of a place here because I'm the only speaker today who are not from Pertamina. But that is exactly how Pertamina has shown a very strong leadership role in this energy transition by taking the lead, taking the initiative, not by themselves only, but by also bringing other elements, such as private companies like the one I'm leading, Jababeka Infrastructure, within this B20 initiatives. And with that, please, if I can have the help of the material being shared. Yeah. So this evening, this afternoon, I will share with you the participants of the Dubai Expo, as well as the member of the press, on the road to G20. Because this energy transition is not only a plan of Pertamina, but it is actually a global agenda. And especially this year, when Indonesia is mandated to host the presidency of G20, it becomes imperative, yeah, that we contribute toward this energy transition and tackling the climate issue. Can I have the next slide, please? So this is the outset. Yeah, this year 2022 is a historical moment for Indonesia, being the first emerging market country holding the G20 presidency. And our president, Joko Widodo, who officiated the Business 20, yeah, the B20, which is a very important dialogue partner of G20, he outlines 3 priorities during the Indonesian leadership of G20. Number 1 is, of course, about global health. Yeah, in the midst of pandemic, I think it is very important to talk about health. But second, also important is digital transformation. This pandemic also showed us how digitalization becomes very important. It's a moment where, digitalization can actually help the way we do business, the way we study, the way we embark on our daily lives. But the third pillar, and the last but not least, the most important of all, is energy transition. Is a process on moving toward a cleaner energy system, but also a cleaner, greener, and also more sustainable planet of Earth that we will pass through to the next generation. And it is this year, 2022, that becomes a very important moment for Indonesia, including through this B20 task force, to contribute on this energy transition journey. So with the next slide, we see here this task force, this B20 task force on energy, sustainability, and climate, led by Madam Nika Widiawati. Again, the honor of Pertamina leading not only businesses in the country, but also around the world. I'm very much honored, coming from a private company that managed the largest industrial estate in Southeast Asia, Jababeka, to be her deputy, to assist her in this process. And colleagues from Pertamina, the colleagues of Daniel Purba, Dr. Oki Muraza, who's crafting the policy draft, policy recommendation that B20 will present. And this is an honor for Indonesia to be working together with co-chairs coming from 8 different companies representing 7 different countries, from company in Saudi with Aramco and Aqua Power to companies in the eastern part of Asia with Mitsubishi Heavy Industries and Sinopec, to companies that has base in Europe like Engie, as well as companies in the northern part of America with Raizen in Brazil and Vale, who has a base in Brazil as well with an Indonesian subsidiary, and also Accenture as a global player. Supported by knowledge partners, PwC and BCG, we're also strengthened with our network partners, ICC, WEF, ADB, and WRI, that will then work together to present a policy recommendation that is doable to ensure that the energy transition at the end will create a sound and sustainable development. So for the next slide, we'll see that not only these leaders are part of the task force. The task force members actually consist of 152 executives, from around the world, with such a almost 30% females, which is for energy sector, which is considered a male-dominated world, but having a 1/3 composition of the leaders in the task force, that is something that we can consider a balance. And there are 25 countries represented, covering 19 industry. And what is very important is that they are coming from companies that employs more than 150,000 people around the world and generating more than $476 billion of turnover per year. So this represents how important this task force is. Out of the 6 task forces in B20, in fact, this task force on ESG, energy sustainability and climate, is the most popular one that has the most number of members coming around the world. And also actually, if you look at the young people around the world right now, they are mainly, when they are demonstrating, when they are voicing their concern, people like Greta Thunberg, they are actually voicing the concern over the planet Earth, over climate, over sustainability. So no wonder that this task force in B20 is also being the most popular one, because so many people have concern over this energy transition. So what are we doing with that? In the next slide, we see that this is the road to this B20 policy recommendation. So the B20 task force will present this recommendation to our leaders, the country leaders of G20, as a communique, so that in the G20 summit in November, we can come up with a policy that will shape a greener planet Earth. So it starts with a draft policy paper. It started already end of last year. And the co-chairs that I showed you before works together through a coordination meeting to make sure that there is a draft to be presented on what is called the task force call, the TF call. So next Tuesday, 22nd of March, 2022, will be the date for the second task force call, where the co-chairs will then discuss with the task force members, getting comments, as well as comments coming from website, which will be then evaluated, analyzed, and will create a revision toward policy paper. So this kind of iteration will take place until 5 times. So next week is the second task force calls, and there will be 3 more task force calls until the middle of August, where we can come up with a policy recommendation that will be ready for the government, and in November, we will have this communique. So this is the journey of the policy recommendation. How about the content of the policy recommendation? In the next slide, please. We see that, as outlined by Ibu Nika in the beginning, there are 3 pain points that we need to address. So the first one is on the pace of the transition. We see that this transition is still going in a pace that is not enough to tackle the global warming. Right now, it is approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius. Yeah, we need to make sure that it does not exceed the limit that has been recommended by IPCC. And the carbon emitted still reach almost 58 gigaton, yeah, by 2019. And out of that, 73% is contributed by energy sector. Yeah. So therefore, the first priority of action will be to accelerate the sustainable energy use, yeah, for this transition. But accelerating the transition might also present a challenge in the second pain point, which is the disruption that can happen with a drastic change in energy transition. So there could be a threat of chaotic and unjust, unaffordable transition. So therefore, the second priority factor of action is ensuring a just and affordable transition. How this energy transition will be able to also help the marginalized people, the small or even micro enterprises, the people in the village, yeah, the role of women, the role of the youth, yeah, how to make sure that jobs are not being lost because of this transition. So coal power plant, for example, there is a message that there will be a coal phase down. So how to make sure that this coal phase down will not create so much of a loss, yeah, for the people working in that sector. And the last one is how energy security can be addressed, yeah, because those issues on poverty, yeah, and balancing that with the energy transition is very important. And this is why the moment that Indonesia leading the global movement of G20 becomes the moment for the priority of global cooperation on enhancing energy security. The role of those 152 members of the task force, especially Ibu Nika leading the 8 co-chairs coming from different countries, will be very important. And with that, I come to the last slide, where this last slide will talk about not only recommendation, the next slide, please, yeah, but also business action. So this is what makes this task force of B20 very unique. Policy recommendation and business action. So what kind of business actions? So some of the business action that has started to take place in this B20 initiative is the MOU signing between Pertamina as the leader of this task force with various partners nationally. For example, like a company like mine, Jababeka, who works together with Pertamina in the green industrial estate development, yeah, installing, for example, renewable energy power plants such as solar panel in the industrial estate, yeah, but also Pertamina working with international partners such as Inpax and Chiyoda from Japan on clean LNG, on CCUS, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, as well as embarking on EV ecosystem development. Yeah, very, very interesting. Pertamina, a company that, you know, markets fuel, but has taken the step of embarking on a sector that might eliminate the use of fuel, yeah, electric vehicle. So Pertamina Power, Pertamina Patraniaga, and Grab working on this. So we are actually inviting, yeah, the participants, the company that take place in this Dubai Expo, to work with Pertamina, to work with companies in Indonesia, yeah, or to work among other companies to come up with business action, yeah, that will contribute on this role of energy transition. And with that, as a reminder, there will be the coming side events, yeah. This is also a call for journalists here to capture the next site events that this task force will organize. So first is on what we call Desa Energi Berdikari, the energy sovereignty and energy independence villages, because this is a community involvement development based new and renewable energy program, so that the public can access energy which are environmentally friendly, affordable, sustainable, and improve their economy. Yeah, how the local actors in the village can participate in generating energy, maybe from solar panel, from biogas, yeah, from micro hydro, yeah. So Pertamina has identified that the CO2 offset potential is close to 300,000 tons per year, yeah. So that is one, and there is also other projects such as Blue Carbon Initiative, yeah, which is again a community empowerment program. And this time around, because it's about blue, this is dealing with the coastal and marine area. You know, Indonesia being an archipelagic nation, certainly the role of the community in the coastal area becomes very important for climate change. And with this, it is identified that the CO2 offset potential is even bigger, 2.5 million tons CO2 per year. So with that, this is not only the business action that we embark on in the task force, but this is also a call for action for everyone, so that we all contribute toward this energy transition, so that the voice of the young generation like Greta Thunberg that is protesting for the better approach toward climate change will then be absorbed. The energy is better absorbed by us, by businesses, so that we help to give the greener planet for them. Because the planet Earth is not something that we inherit from our ancestors, but the planet Earth is something that we borrow from the future generation. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Agung Wicaksono, Deputy Chair of the Task Force Environment, Sustainability and Climate, the B20. Energy, Transition, Climate, Road to G20. I'm actually very, very delighted to see Pertamina's commitment and hard work towards sustainability, because one of the biggest companies in Indonesia, such as Pertamina, making this step, making this approach is actually a great example, and it's a very tough act to follow. Hopefully, this is a huge, huge step that we can take towards a better future. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the end of our presentations of the day. Like I stated before, we have a Q&A session planned today at the very end of our event. But before we get into the Q&A session, I would also like to inform you that we have 5 special souvenirs for 5 best questions. We will be picking 5 best questions that has a special reward, aka a souvenir from Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. Don't forget to write down your name, and please write down your company, the media that you're working from. And also please fill in the registration link that we've sent you on the chat box, so we can pick the winners to win the souvenirs. Let me just sum up a bit about the last presentation that we've seen together. One of the key factors of the G20 Indonesia presidency is the transition towards a green economy. Although energy transition is a challenge of all, it should also be seen as an opportunity to create a sustainable future and economic growth by implementing a robust scenario and roadmap, especially for the financial aspect. Also, B20 will bring a huge, huge message for us all. Okay, do you have, oh, I'm sorry, there's more. There's more to the, there's more resume that I have to read for you all. Accelerate the transition to sustainable energy use, ensure a just and affordable transition, global cooperation on enhancing energy security through the presidency. Team Task Force Energy Sustainability, Climate B20 Indonesia, which represents 5,000 people of the enterprises in the G20 region, will continue to iterate policy paper development process and deliver actionable policy recommendations and legacy of business actions. Okay, we have curated some of the most interesting questions that you've asked on the chat box today, and we're ready to enter the Q&A session. But before that, please allow me to welcome back our speakers for today. Mr. Daniel Purba, Senior Vice President Investment Management Pertamina, Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto, President Director of Pertamina Geothermal Energy, Mr. Eri Widyastono, President Director of Pertamina International Shipping, and Mr. Agung Wicaksono, Deputy Chair of the Task Force Environment, Sustainability, and Climate, the B20. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining this Q&A session. I'm sure that there's a lot of interesting questions for us all. Let us begin by the very first question. And the first question is, Expo 2020 Dubai theme is connecting mind, creating the future. How do you interpret this phrase in relevance to what Pertamina is doing to achieve a better future? And is there any partnership in energy transition between Pertamina and any organizations in UAE? This question is from Khalid Emirat Aloyum. And the question is directed to all of our speakers, but I would also ask Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto, as the President Director of Pertamina Geothermal Energy, to be the first one to answer this question.
Thank you. Thank you, Conchita. It's an honor for me to be given the first questions. It is interesting. The way I see it is that, first of all, it is an opportunity to extend the network. And it's not just a network, but a network of like-minded people who has a similar values, who has a similar passions for a better future. And of course, once you connect the mind, it is cross-pollinations of ideas, exchanging of ideas, and the natural continuations from that network expansions is a formation of partnerships. There is no way that a single party, a single company, a single person could create such an impact to huge issues that we face globally. Issue of global warming and issue of decarbonization. The only way to tackle this wicked problem is through partnerships. And hence, Pertamina Geothermal Energy is also open for any potential strategic partnerships that is mutually beneficial and creating further values for the world and for the earth and for the future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto. Is there anything anyone would like to add on that matter?
Yeah, I probably would like to add some sharing on the question or concern. I think it is Dubai Expo is the international event where I think right now still close to the last COP26 event last year. So I think the momentum I think also will be a part of this Dubai Expo where all parties from all industry and for all different background and players, starting from the energy and also from other financing institution, and I think many participants involved in this Dubai Expo. So in Pertamina, as part of Indonesia delegation or members in this Dubai Expo, is really exciting to take part on this Dubai Expo, to share what has been going on within our company as well as in Indonesia. And this is, I think, will enhance the collaboration and accelerate the cooperation, where the cooperation or the prospect is very big, not just for the existing business, but also for the future business related to the energy transition. Related to the question about the UAE company, it is we have been discussing with several UAE company, but however, right now I think related to the energy sustainability or clean energy, I think the most quite intensive discussion to explore the cooperation is with the Masdar company to see the green energy and renewable energy development that already developed in Masdar City to be applied and implemented in Indonesia. So I think, of course, this event is already going for several months, and we have been taking part of this event from the several months, and also maybe still some weeks to go. So I think Pertamina and I think as part of and also Indonesia on this Dubai Expo is really contributing for our energy transition journey. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, just very, very briefly, I'd like to comment on the tagline of Dubai Expo 2020, Connecting Minds, Creating Future, which very much aligned with the B20 role. As you have seen, the policy recommendation is drafted through a process of connecting different minds from around the world. So very similar and aligned with the Dubai Expo 2020. And this is done also to create the future, a greener future that is created through energy transition. So I hope the Dubai Expo will serve as a platform to connect also a lot of businesses that will work together and support the G20 mission for the future through energy transition. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything anyone would like to add?
Yes, I would like to give some comment, a little comment to the question. Thank you for the question. I would like to add some. So far that we haven't had any partnership with any company for the UAE. However, we are very open to cooperate with anyone in order to support a greener environment. We believe that this expo is very good to open partnership. And for your information, that we have a plan to rejuvenate our vessel gradually. Currently, the average age of our ship is around 17 years. Going forward, we will invest to replace our old vessels. So that the average age of our vessel will drop to around 10 years. In total, by 2030, we will spend around $3 billion and add approximately 69 new vessels, whereby this vessel will be greener than the existing ones. This requires partnership with anyone, including companies from UAE and others, So we are very much welcome for the partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answers.
To add into the explanation from Pak Daniel before Conchita, Pertamina Geothermal Energy with our immediate parents, Pertamina Power New and Renewable Energy Business Unit, we are currently engaging a few discussions with several parties from UAE in exploring partnerships in technologies and in creating further synergies between the organizations.
Ooh, no, that's interesting. Looking forward to know which companies are going to partner with Pertamina in the near future, sir. Okay, moving on to the second question. This one is from Haryo from Radio El Shinta. Pertamina is one of the largest SOEs in Indonesia, which is engaged in fully integrated energy from upstream to downstream and encourages the use of new and renewable energy. How to understand all levels of society and open up all elements to move forward together in order carrying renewable energy. Okay, I think this question would be a perfect fit for Mr. Ahmad Yuniarto as the President Director of Pertamina Geothermal Energy to answer first. Please, sir.
Tonight, Conchita, is my lucky night. I've won the lucky draw of all the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mas Aryo. It's a very, very good questions. And when we are talking about energy transitions, when we are talking about the adoptions of renewable as part of day-to-day activity that we have, it's very true that we have to reach out and we have to engage and we have to inspire all members of the society to participate at all levels. Agung has mentioned that there is an engagement between multi-parties at the policy level. It is very, very important. But as I said before, energy transitions and the promotions of renewables is a wicked problem. A problem that is so big that no single parties could solve it. We could only continuing to work on that problem through active partnerships, and that also partnerships in real term on a day-to-day basis with all members of the community. And one way to build that partnership is through continuing dialogue. Within this space, then Pertamina Geothermal Energy is also actively participating in that public engagements with multiple elements of the community. We are working with the future generations, students at universities, a student at high schools. We are working with the grassroots community, especially surrounding our areas. We are working with other organizations through associations of industries or association of professionals. But also we are having a dialogue continually with other parties, with other sector of industry, for example. And through that dialogue, we aspire to share our passions, to share the values of a better future through the adoptions of renewable energy. I think only through an active and continuing dialogue involving all parties where we share informations and shows a real tangible benefit of renewable energy, then we could instill the value of investing in a future that we together can shape a better future by changing the values that we have, the lifestyle that we have, and adopting a more sustainable use of energy, and of course, by increasing the use of renewable energy.
Okay, it sure is quite a hard work and a long way to go, but it's still possible to do. Okay, anyone else would like to add something? Perhaps Mr. Eri or Mr. Daniel?
Yeah, if I may add the question, I think, the answer. I understand it might be hard to understand how Pertamina, where the spectrum of the business from upstream to downstream incorporate the renewable energy in its portfolio. I think one thing I would like to note that we are, as a country, Indonesia is blessed with many renewable resources naturally. So this is also as our strong point for us to explore further to fulfill our Indonesian energy demand. It is it's not an easy and short time. It will take time, 10, 15, 20 years to go. But it is the renewables is the resources that we have very much in Indonesia that we haven't explored and exploit. So I think this is the challenge for Pertamina as an energy state enterprise to maximize the utilize of our own resources. Learning from the COVID pandemic situation that maximizing our own resources is one of the strong point for any country when we deal for the past 2 years of a pandemic situation. So I think it is part of the journey. Of course, many aspects in this renewable energy ecosystem will involve. And it is, I think, Indonesia, I think, having right now most of our energy coming from fossils. But on the other hand, we have many renewables resources. So I think this is how Indonesia will have sustainable resources of energy that will be utilized for the future generation. But however, we need to start now. Thank you.
Correct. And just continuing a little bit from that, one very important part of reaching out and engaging to inspire is actually walking the talk. And Pertamina, in this case, step up its commitment in really doing investment and developing renewable energy generations. And that is a real show of force in terms of shifting in commitment and in terms of realizing the commitments that we have set. But Daniel has already explained how much future capex that Pertamina as a group has committed. That is part of a very important element in a wider audience engagement that we actually do what we meant to do.
Yeah.
Okay, is that all, sir?
Very quickly, I like the question on how we can convince the public about the use of renewable energy. And with that, it's very important that the business community engage with other communities as well. So for example, with the youth community. So Ibu Nike, the CEO of Pertamina and the chair of the B20 task force, will speak, for example, the coming week in a forum of energy transition working group with the youth. So with the millennials, community, because they are obviously better positioned, to convey this message to people at their cohort, right? And for example, the Pertamina's program on Desa Energi Berdikari will then be also amplified by working together with this youth community, for example, the Society for Renewable Energy, SRE, so that this Desa Energi Berdikari program, the independent energy independence village program, can be multiplied using the role of this youth organization where they have also a program where they call it the guerrilla, yeah. So installing a solar panel in various villages. So these two, teaming up the business entity like Pertamina and the youth community, will hopefully then be the forceful way to educate, the society about the importance of renewable energy. Thank you.
So this is pretty much a mission that has to go hand in hand. All of us has to be in
Correct.
it together in order to achieve it. Okay, moving on to the third question of the day. This question is for Mr. Eri Widyastono as the President Director of Pertamina International Shipping. What is the company's investment roadmap for more environmentally friendly shipping business? So,
thank you very much for the question. Our commitment to the environmental improvement has been reflected in our investment roadmap. And I think we will invest in ship technology on board to help reduce emission and improve energy efficiency. These investments include the installation of scrubber, ballast water treatment systems, LSFO, dedicated tanks, dual-fuel modes, and so on. In addition, we have also begun to shift the focus of ship investment to more environmentally friendly cargo transportation such as gas, biodiesel, and so on. As I said before, by 2030, we will spend around $3 billion and approximately 69 new vessels, whereby this vessel will be greener than the existing ones. That's my comments.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Next question, please. I also would like to inform you once again that we have 5 special prizes for 5 best questions of the day. So if you guys still have any questions, please feel free to write down your questions on the chat box. We will pick 5 best questions that will receive a special souvenir from Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. Again, we will be giving you a chance to ask questions to our speakers today, and we will be picking 5 best questions to receive 5 special souvenirs from Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. And I would also like to let you know, please don't forget to fill in the registration link that we've sent you on the chat box so we can tell who's going to win the prizes and where to send the prizes to. Is there any more question? Oh, okay. We've got another one. This is from Faustina, Business Indonesia. The first one is, with soaring oil price and recent growing demand of renewables, is EOR program still feasible to be implemented? Okay, now that's a good question. Oh, okay, and this question is directed to Mr. Daniel Purba.
Yeah, thank you. I think it is very relevant what we are having right now, where the oil price is soaring. That's what the question said. It is. However, I need to outline that the oil price is fluctuated. So, and also in the longer term, it never been in a higher place quite so long and never been in a low price quite so long. So it is fluctuated, and the market will be balancing the supply and demand and put back the price back to normal level where all the buyer and seller are happy with. So I think the question related to the EOR, this is very relevant issues. It is right now where the price is over 100, EOR is become more relevant. Where it is about $70 to $80 EOR is economically viable. Is below 70, 80 is hard to justify. So I think, however, we believe that EOR is one of the technology that really effective. Having the reserve is already in place and proven. So it's just a matter of technology to bring it to the surface, to produce it. So I think, to be straight to the question, yes, it is. EOR is become more relevant where the oil price is so high. And Indonesia, I think we have recovery factor is still 20-30%. So still more than enough. The oil proven is, in Indonesia that potentially to be produced, having the right technology and also the oil price situation that support the EOR. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel. Moving on to the last question of the day. This is from Muhammad Reza Difali. The question is ESG concept applicable for small business or BUMD in Indonesia? Considering the cost for using green energy or implementing that concept will definitely require a lot of cost. Now, this question is directed to all of our speakers today.
Agung, gonna take first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. I'll take that. Maybe because the question reflects not only how ESG is applicable for a big company like Pertamina. I think we have heard from Pak Daniel, Pak Ahmad Yuniarto, and Pak Heri how ESG is really anchored in Pertamina's business. But I can tell you that ESG is in fact the foundation that can ensure that micro and small and medium enterprise can only not survive, but also sustain and succeed. Yeah, because through ESG, we can see that the concern will be how the marginalized, the less advantageous, the less competitive, can be also benefiting from the resources that the country has and the companies are managing. So I can probably not speak in the experience of Pertamina, but when I was, for example, leading a state-owned company in the Jakarta province in public transport, so obviously the role of ESG is very important there. Company like MRT, public transport that is obviously a greener one, and helping to reduce people using private vehicle, reducing congestion. That is obviously in line with the ESG principle. And right now, Transjakarta, the company that I led after that, is embarking on electric mobility, electric bus. They are operating electric bus. Obviously, this is also in line with the ESG principle, just like what Pertamina is doing ongoing with the EV ecosystem. So, in short, my answer is yes. And in fact, this is more important for the smaller companies, not just the big ones. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Ahmad, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, I'll pick up from where Pak Agung has started. I echo what Pak Agung said. To me, ESG is very applicable, not only to small and medium enterprises, but any organizations, even foundations or non-governmental organizations, because ESG, the way I see it, it is actually a belief, values. And when you apply it to the activity, essentially it's as simple as doing what you believe is the right thing to do. And ESG helps in methodically focusing our actions. First of all, what we believe and what we want to do in having a good governance. And a good governance could be implemented, could be adopted, and should be adopted by anyone, even as a person. You know, you have a set of governance that tells you what's right, what's wrong. So it's very, very simple. And good governance means good business as well. It is then, from one element, it is definitely applicable. At what level of organizations, scope of business, or perhaps the size of the organizations, it is fundamentally very important to have set a fundamental good governance principle and doing it. And second, environmental. It is also an application of what we believe, that whatever we do, we should create a positive impact to environments around us. And that could be of many aspects that that we are going to apply, right? It's not necessarily you're jumping right away into the adoptions of renewable energy, but the spirit of reducing the harm that we do or we could do to the environment is part of it. You set a commitment of what you can improve from your activity in reducing harm to the environment. That's part of implementing the good environmental impact principle in our business. What about social? And the element of social impact is also quite wide, and we could see that implementing commitment in maintaining the safety and the well-being of people around us is part of an implementation of the social aspect of ESG frameworks. Promoting equal opportunity to everyone, be it the gender, be it different of thought, for example, of different of geographical origins. We do this practice in our activity on a day-to-day basis. We are also implementing one element of the ESG framework, which is social. So when we put it together, once again, I strongly believe that as a principle, as a framework to implement our belief or our values in our organization, ESG definitely is applicable to all level or all size of organizations, including small and medium enterprises.
Thank you for the answer.
If I may add also on the ESG, I think should be understand that ESG is not the corporate interest or national interest, but I think ESG should be as a lifestyle of the personal life, where ESG consists of environment, social, and governance. So I think regardless it's a micro or small enterprise or big company, but also it is a personal lifestyle should be also as on an ESG. So I think we need to understand ESG is not only deal with the renewable energy, but it's also deal with recycle energy, waste to energy, reuse of the waste, reuse of the energy. So it is in the global terms we call it circular economy. So I think we need to understand fundamentally that ESG is a big issue for the corporation right now, especially for energy company dealing with the green economy. But however, it is part of all institution, all corporation, and also in terms of personal life. I think in terms of governance, the way we use our gadget, for example, or dealing with the bribery or corruption issues. I think that's also part of the ESG matters that everybody put focusing on. So yeah, I think that's I would like to add on this ESG issue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I would like also to add some. Yes, ESG is still relevant and applicable even for small businesses. We know that I believe that we agree that we know that ESG initiatives are expensive. In the short term, in my opinion, in the short term, the role of government to help promote ESG for small business by subsidizing small business will help, at least in the beginning phase. But in long run, ESG initiative will help companies reduce costs when its benefit have been realized. They can start relying on their own capabilities and less dependent on government. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, this question marks the end of our Q&A session today. Thank you so much for all of you who participated, and please make sure to fill the registration link so that we can choose 5 best questions that will win 5 special souvenirs from Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. And once again, I would also like to ask all of you, all of our media partners, media colleagues, to turn on your camera so that we can take a photo together to close this amazing media brief that we had today. Once again, can you please turn on your camera? Be in position, and let's strike a pose together to close up this amazing event that we had. Please turn on your camera and let us take a photo together to close up this media briefing with Pertamina. Okay, let's take the first picture with the first slide. In 3, 2, 1, smile! Moving on to the next slide. Thank you so much for joining our event today. Please don't forget to fill in the registration link so that we can send you the 5 special souvenirs. And after we take photos with all of our media partners, media colleagues today, it's time for all of our speakers to take a photo together as well. So please be ready, give us your best smile, and let us take a photo together in 3, 2, 1, smile! Okay, now that was fun. There was a lot of interesting questions, and we sure have chosen 5 of our best questions that will win 5 special souvenirs from Pertamina Grand Prix of Indonesia. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the media briefing agenda for Pertamina's participation at the Indonesia Pavilion in Dubai Expo 2022 with the team Indonesia's Pertamina sets initiatives for accelerating energy transition to become global energy champion is over today. Thank you so much for your presence and participation, and hopefully we can meet again on another event. See you and stay healthy.
Thank you, Mas Dika.
Thank you, Pak Ahmad. Very